Itachi versus Aizen in a math test. Yeah, like it was funny. I was talking to someone about like who would win in chess with Aizen versus say Kira, and it's hard. It really is so hard to actually scale intelligence because it's not a
Yes.
linear thing. It's not like you watch a character punch a wall and then you watch the other character punch a wall and we can see what they can tangibly do. Intelligence is so situational and based on like how like this is for a story actually. Let me be clear about how you would interpret it in a story. So it's like okay, Light gets caught by Al in the first few episodes when he pinpoints what city he would be. Okay, alright, then we compare that to Aizen fooling the Soul Society. How do you even scale which is smarter out of those two things? Like, you could probably say
Yeah.
Aizen's, like, outwitting characters that are 2,000 years old. Like, that's sort of a realistic angle to go with, but at the same time, it's just so arbitrary and weird to go, like, with
Yeah,
that.
well, cause like the thing is, and I tried to talk to a certain there's this one guy
Oh, wait, you
who's
tried
not
to
really
talk
around
to...
anymore who had to fixate a lot on like scaling character intelligence. I would try to explain to him that it's not really like practical to do. Like it doesn't really make sense unless you're like comparing feats from like the same like sorts of intelligence based exercises like because asking like who would win like do better on a math test between like Itachi and Aizen is like it's weird because it would be like determining like well, who's smarter like Magnus Carlsen or Stephen Hawking, right? Like it's a weird question because Magnus Carlsen would like kick Stephen Hawking's ass at chess. That doesn't mean he's smarter, it just
Yeah.
means he's a better chess player.
It's like it's like the way you scale intelligence in that sense is such a subjective point of view that it becomes silly
Yeah.
because you could look at it like this. Okay, Swag, who do you think's a smart individual? Like, what's a celebrity or an individual that you actually consider to be a smart person? Anyone?
Somebody, I guess, like Stephen Hawking is like an example.
Okay, let's
Like
pick
I
him.
just said.
Okay, in pure, like, you put them so they're in a room. It's him and a mechanic from the Philippines who is a master at putting together Toyotas. Is the mechanic now more intelligent because he's better at building, the Toyota? Like, he knows how to deal with it, like, to the point where, like, that's his life's, like, that's his expertise. Like,
Yeah.
then you compare it again to those examples I gave before. Light gets baited by Al, and Al's plan works. Aizen, tricks the Soul Society. Okay, let's do it. Let's do a different scenario. Aizen tricks Momo. Okay, Aizen gets fooled by Yamamoto. It's like, how do you scale it? It's like up and down. Oh, now he's dumb. Now he's smart. Now he's smart in this thing. It's like there are so many
Yeah,
different...
I agree. It was really annoying again talking to this person because they'd be like, "Oh, well, this person tricked that person." There's this one like conversation about how like somebody was trying to tell me that like Itachi was smarter. Okay, so like Kakashi wouldn't be able to figure out Takamui Chibaku Tensei because he wouldn't be able to figure out that that's how it works because B couldn't figure it out, but B outsmarted Minato, so B is smarter than Minato. And I was like, that's not fucking true at all. B did not outsmart Minato just because he pointed his kunai backwards because he saw that Minato would be able to teleport there. That's not a feat of outsmarting him. I mean, like that was literally all Minato could do. It's not like he could teleport to a different like fucking seal that wasn't there, right? So B just made the read, like it doesn't work that way. It's just that like people aren't omniscient and people have to like make intuitive guesses about certain things. So sometimes when a character gets like outsmarted or played or fooled by somebody else, it's like RNG, right? It's like a flip of a coin sometimes, you know. It's really really weird to me to try and like scale general intelligence unless it's like for a specific thing like combat tactical skill or something. And I mean like you can get like an intuitive sense of who's generally smart and generally not. Like, Shikamaru is obviously like probably smarter than Naruto. He's one of the smartest characters in the series. But like it's just like comparing
I
like
can give you an example to back that argument because I was going to interject before and say this, but like let's look at like Naruto and Shikamaru. So Naruto's battle IQ and ability to improv in situations is better than Shikamaru's is, right? But Shikamaru, in
it
terms of...
depends though, right? Because like sometimes Shikamaru comes up with like a
Yeah,
really
yeah, yeah.
crazy shit
Like in
that
the
even
war.
Naruto wouldn't.
Like in the war. But
Yeah.
that's why it's very situational based in terms of like some people can be really good at certain things. Like, I mean, fuck, like Naruto's ability, you know, mid combat to do certain things could be seen as really high intelligence, or the way that he's able to like come up with the S class jutsu is a really underrated part of
Yeah,
his
see,
character.
like that's the thing. Like Shikamaru would not have figured out, even if he had Naruto's abilities. I don't know if Shikamaru would have figured out that he could make the Rasengan using a shadow clone and having the shadow clone like mold the chakra by keeping it in the shape of a ball. I
Yeah.
don't know if Shikamaru would have figured that out, but Naruto did. Um,
Like
so yeah, it's like
someone said before in the chat, like they just said, nah, Aizen's smarter than Kira, like from Death Note. And I'm like, so I want to hear the answer. Like, how does that person go about it? Like, if they're still in the chat, like, I want you to, like, type out, like, how do you come to that conclusion? Because it's like, if you do replace Aizen with Kira and vice versa, and they've, like, now got each other's powers and they've just been swapped in the story, the only thing that changes is now they're in control of, like, the body itself. It's like, how does, like, you know, I wonder how Aizen deals with the situation, because he's made mistakes in
right, yeah,
combat.
that's another thing too. Like, I haven't read Bleach yet, obviously, but the way like people talk about characters like Aizen, or like people will be like, yeah, like Madara is like the smartest character in Naruto or whatever, right? But like things you have to take into account are that these characters are only able to accomplish these things because they also have like this immense godlike power that is able to aid them in manipulating people, right? Like Shikamaru wouldn't have been able to manipulate Obito because Shikamaru doesn't have like he's not an Uchiha. He doesn't have that like the ability to do genjutsu. Like he doesn't have like the like I guess like the spiritual essence that somebody like Madara has. Where he'd be able to like truly convince like Obito to believe in the dream and shit, but like like represent like Madara is like an icon, right? Too, so like that's part of it. I think his like reputation helps. Like it's just I feel like I'm not even like making sense at this point. I
No,
might
I know what
just
you're
be
saying.
like
It's like,
aimlessly
because
rambling,
it's like
but
with Aizen, it's like if his main ability that you've probably heard of is his hypnosis. Like it's really
yeah, and if
underrated.
Aizen doesn't have that, like he just does, he's not gonna be as accomplished as like
There is definitely, bro. There is definitely, without a doubt, a lot of situations that don't assist him without the Kyokusui Getsu. Like that's for sure. Like it does make a lot of things look really intelligent because, well, characters look dumb when they fight him because they can't do anything against it. And we're also trying to explain that like there are certain elements of these series which assist and don't assist the characters in their situations. So it's like
Yeah.
if you do put Aizen in, say, like Kira's situation, does he understand how TV works to a T? Does he understand like the nuance of like high school life and balancing that with his parental sort of like dynamic and stuff? Like there are so many little nuanced things there where it's like, does it pan out the way you think?
Yeah.
Because and I was gonna say this earlier, but Aizen has made mistakes where you could look at and be like, would Light have made those mistakes if he was in Aizen's body? Like, for example,
Yeah.
there is a part where I won't spoil who it is, but he goes down a crater and he goes to do this little speech and he's going to behead a certain character and he's like, you deserve my respect. That character baited him and grabbed him by the leg and then tried to use like a suicide keto, and it's like Aizen straight afterwards says he almost got me. So it's like, dude, that was a mistake which could have been fatal, and he did it just based purely on his own like sort of braggadociousness at the time. So those things can be looked at as like anti-feats for intelligence too, without a doubt. It's very much more subjective than straight up power, where it's like Goku and Vegeta, we know tangibly what those two can and can't do in terms of comparing one another as like just a straight up test. Who can blow up the most stuff? You lean towards Goku. We just know that. Like it's not debatable. So with intelligence though, it's much more situational.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, in my opinion, Aizen just seems like the type to see through people and how they think. He manipulated people around him. Yeah, but
Yeah, but so
Light.
is L, and so did Light. Yeah. No,
Dude,
like
Light being
okay,
one.
look, bro, like no, you're not gonna just be like, I mean, yeah, but like Aizen can like see through people, bro. Like go rewatch the episode with Ray Penber's wife and
Yes.
Light walking down the street, bro. Like Light literally like read her and like deconstructed her personality like in like 5 seconds. And like fucking he convinced her that he was like working with the police and like got her to give him her fucking like ID and shit, bro. Like with no powers, no hypnosis or anything like that. He
Dude.
just used his intuitive like social engineering skills to convince this woman to make a fatal mistake. And she's smart. She's a smart fucking character. You don't even have to use the novel where she's one of the main characters. To like support this. Like in the series, it makes it very clear that she's sharp. Light notes that she's smart, actually, himself, and he's still able to convince her to make a mistake like that. So, like, I don't know, man. Like, just saying that Aizen's good at reading people. Again, haven't finished Bleach, so I'm not gonna speak for Aizen, but that is not a particularly good argument against Light.
I can say it's also not good too because he manipulated people like Momo and Renji. Bro, Ray Pember's wife is more intelligent than those two characters. Like Renji.
I think her name is Naomi. Let me see. It's been a while since
Renji's not intelligent, and neither is Momo. Like
yeah,
that's not a good
Naomi
example.
Misora. Yeah, no, Naomi Misora is like one of the most intelligent characters in Death Note, and Light got rid of her in one episode while she was on her way to the police station.
In the episode, Light like fucks with her so bad in the moment, like improvs and gets her, that they animated the episode so it shows her walking up a pathway to die. Like that's how it portrays the scene, like how much he like shat on her in terms of intelligence.
Yeah.
And again, I guess like to clarify what we're saying too is this isn't even necessarily about proving who is smarter. It's trying to show you guys that proving intelligence character to character is so much harder than it is to power scale a character because of like there's not a written way to scale intelligence with characters like that, you know? Like,
yeah, exactly. This is less about saying that Light is smarter than Aizen and more about like you can just be skeptical of the claim that Aizen is smarter very easily, right? By just being like, well, can you prove that he would be able to do this, right? I think just saying that like Light can't naturally read people and like manipulate them is insane. Like that is crazy to me, you know?
yeah, it was saying that with Aizen, yeah, where it's like it's like, oh, I think. So it's like, see, that's the problem. That's the first like roadblock you've ran into is it's like, oh, I think it should work that way. Oh, I just think he's smarter. And it's like, yeah, but I need you to show me, like, tangibly, like, describe it in a way that's like it actually makes sense, like analytically, like who's smarter. The issue is how Aizen handles Misa. Light's greatest problem was her, and L used it.
No. He did not handle Misa poorly at all, dude. Misa was a wild card that got introduced, like just fucking thrown in his lap in the middle of things when he was in like a life or death game of cat and mouse with L. Like he had to adapt to Misa, like boom, like fucking immediately, right? Like he fucking like saw her like claim to be Kira on TV and shit, and it like really fucked with him, and so he had to go like track her down and all that shit, bro. Like I don't know, like what did he even do with Misa that was like intelligent, like tactically irresponsible? Like I don't know, I can't think of anything.
She was like her own like he can't misguide Misa with Kyoka Soigetsu or anything like that because Light doesn't have that power. Like he has to deal with the cards in front of him, and even him consistently having to deal with another sentient human being in Al was.
It's not just Misa too; it's also Rem. Right? Like, because if Light had the ability to just kill Misa and take her death note, that's what he would have done. But Rem was like, no, if Misa dies, I'm going to kill you. So Light now had the pressure of, like, he could be killed by the death penalty because of L, or, he, if he fucks up and gets Misa killed and uses her as a scapegoat, then he'll get killed by this death god. And by the way, he fucking, as a normal human being, outsmarted Rem. Yep. Made Rem kill herself, bro.
Yep. You know, say, in Bleach, Aizen can combat every single character. Like he's on a playing field where, given the opportunity, he can fight every character. Light can't do anything to Rem, but he did anyway. Yeah. He made something out of nothing. Like he's dealing with a supernatural force while he himself is just a fucking human with a book.
Yeah. It's like...
I'm going to piss real quick, by the way, so you can take over for that.
Okay. Yeah, like, the thing about Light is, he's... I'll wait to say this next part until Clyde is back, actually. Like, comparing somebody like Light to somebody like Aizen or, like, Shikamaru or whatever is just hard because, like we've been saying, they exist in very different settings, with very different circumstances and with very different abilities. It's extremely difficult to assess how like Light would handle somebody like Madara's position, or how Madara would handle somebody like Light's position if they were swapped, right? Like, I don't know. I just think it's weird. One Piece pre-time skip or OG Naruto? Somebody asked. Oh, I think OG Naruto is way better. I don't know if I necessarily agree with the idea that One Piece is better pre-time skip, because like post time skip it does have some bad arcs, but like pre-time skip has so I think East Blue is probably immune to this, but Little Garden sucks like big time. Um Pre-time skip though, it has Eni's Lobby and Marineford, which I like very much, but I don't think I even like either of those as much as Sasuke Retrieval. Somebody keeps asking Swag any news on history of Yu-Gi-Oh! Metagame Part 2. It'll probably come out like middle of next year. Farfa actually DM'd me on Discord and asked me about that earlier today, which is pretty funny.
Alright, I am back. Bro, that was like one
Okay.
of them. That was like one of them pisses where like you fucking stay in the the movie theater for like on a 3 hour watch of a movie, and then like you just busted, bro. Like that was so insane, man. Oh my god. Um,
One thing I was gonna say, which is like, this might be the most impressive thing that Light does, is he's able to like read himself, but like he's able to guess like how he would act in a situation where he doesn't have the Death Note and genuinely doesn't believe he has anything to do with the Death Note either, right? Like he's able to guess that he'll just genuinely like assist L and like end up with the Death Note back again
yeah, yeah.
after he doesn't even manipulate the other dude who ends up with it. The dude from the Yotsuba business, I don't remember his name, but he doesn't even manipulate him. He just tells Ryuk to give it to a guy who's greedy and will fuck himself up with it, so that like he can end up with it back in his own hands, right?
That was
And
probably one of the most like obviously it's a fictional story, so it's written to work out. But if you just look at that in a vacuum, like how that situation panned out, that was one of the most insane, risky ass moves that like any characters made. Like
yeah,
to willingly be like, okay, the current being I am right now, I'm gonna let my autopilot body take over and just hope for the best that it works out is so
yeah,
crazy.
yeah, and it did.
Would you say Light has better improv feats, but Aizen has better planning feats? Then again, IQ has.
Well, no, because Light, like that plan that we just talked about was like crazy. I mean, I can't speak Aizen's planning feats actually, so I don't know. But like don't sleep on Light's planning ability. You know?
Here's the thing, Light Light won, Light won, and also did everything that he wanted to. And the only reason he was defeated is mostly because of his own. I guess you could arguably say a bit of overconfidence, but he generally won at his goal. Like Aizen made many mistakes. Like he himself said, the Espada disappointed him. He wasn't happy with how they turned out. They were like their power disappointed him. He fucked up with the Ichigo situation. He fucked up with Yamamoto almost 2 times. Most of his planning in general got messed up with like getting messed over by like Geen and so on, who like he probably could have prevented that, but he lost his most valuable sidekick, and then also Tosin and everybody else. So there's so many things where, you know, if you compare it to like what Light did, like Light, to be honest, given the fact that his situation was 24/7 getting worse and worse, he actually still beat Al and did what he wanted to do. But Aizen made mistakes. You know, he ended up getting imprisoned.
I see you've played knifey spoony before.
Yeah. The only reason I don't even know if it was entirely overconfidence that Light lost. Right? Like Light also like the ending of Death Note is. It's got a couple ass pulls, and one of them is that guy who works for Nier. I don't remember his name, but he was able to copy and transcribe an exact perfect copy of Mikami's Death Note. And Mikami's like super anal retentive, right? Like really detail oriented, and like I didn't notice a single I that wasn't dotted or T that wasn't crossed, anything out of place in the whole Death Note. Like the guy copied it and put a fake one back in like Mikami's locker. Like bro, like that shit, I just don't buy that at all. Also, some guy asked both of us. He said, I asked this on the Death Note subreddit, but do you guys think that episode 1 Light pre Death Note and Memory Wipe Light are completely different characters? Yeah, I kind of get the sense that before the Death Note, Light wasn't the good person that he's portrayed to be after he gets his memory wiped. Like, he seems pretty cynical and bitter before he gets the Death Note, and like the Death Note is just a thing that pushes like that, like it gives him the ability to do something he kind of already wanted to do. But then like when he gets his memory wiped, he's just like a goody two shoes, and I'm like, I don't know. I think it's a little bit weird. I can see like I don't think it's impossible to wrap my head around how
I
it
think, I
may
think
have
it's like this.
happened.
I think it's
But
like this. I think
yeah,
Light's an example of obviously he was an edgy individual even beforehand, but he's an example of sort of the commonality you see when people get a lot of money and they start to change over
yeah,
time. Like I mean, bro,
yeah.
if you give the Death Note to most individuals, right, and if they
No, I
start,
agree. I think the Death Note definitely corrupted him for sure.
yeah,
But I
yeah, and
think
that's
in episode 1, he was a bit more of like an edge lord than he's portrayed to be after his memories wiped. You know?
yeah, I think the fact that it was fully removed reverted him to his like probably baseline scared person where he's like he's involved with the police. He's like I don't
Yeah,
know what's going on. I don't know nothing about no blah, so that's like realistic too because the Death Note like did mold him into a lunatic over time. Like his character
yeah,
from chapter 1 to the last few chapters, like he's just night and day different.
yeah.
Like he literally laughs on a grave, like and starts like
Yeah.
scream laughing out of like that's
That shit is crazy in the OVA when he when he just starts fucking screaming at L's tombstone, bro.
yeah. I
He
was
was so petty.
I said a couple times on stream that I think that if you want to avoid all the critique that Death Note gets, if you end the Death Note anime at the scene where he's laughing at the grave as he's won, it's like one of the most perfect, just clean cut series ever. Because then you could have it so that the rest of the series is up to your interpretation of how things happen. Like, does he die? Does the world go to shit? Like, who knows? It's all just up to thinking about like how it could have gone because the near stuff, at least, like I felt like it was like pretty slow and stuff, and it's got a lot of issues and so on. But I see a lot more negative takes towards it than positive ones, and maybe that could have avoided a lot of those issues.
Yeah, I think the second half of the story just has more contrivances because I like Nier and Mello not as much as L, but I do like them both. But like, there's just weird shit like Mello surviving a building exploding and being fine, and like the shit, like I said, with the guy fucking like photocopying the Death Note, but like with his handwriting, and what was it, like 12 hours or something? I think it's still entertaining, but it's just a much more sloppy and stupid series than the one it
Yeah,
started out as.
it
And
like
I think, wait, go ahead. Sorry.
you would agree with this, but like when you have a series that is the main thing that it revolves around, like the main sort of like axis of the series is how the fuck does Light beat Al, like this super detective just in uber genius 3000 IQ man? Like how does he get out of this and how does he win with the Death Note? Once like Al's gone, the series just slows down. You're in a car that's cruising at 100 miles per hour, and now it's gone down to 60, and now we're just cruising with like characters that for the most part just aren't as interesting as Al was. Like that's why the series does hit that wall where people have a lot of issues with it, and you probably feel the same, right? Because I mean, I felt like Al was
Yeah, I
the
think that I miss L, but I think that the series could have been fine. It's mostly that there are just so many weird ass pulls in it. Um, I think that probably the best way to end the series would have been to have the warehouse scene, but like with L. Like Light could have just lost to L. Because like I mean, he's supposed to lose. Clearly, that's why he does at the end. But they just didn't really know how to do it without L. So like the quality of the writing suffered a bit. But I think like because the main thing about the second half of the series is I think it is all worth it just for the warehouse scene where he has his breakdown and Matsuda shoots him. Like that shit is all really really good. But maybe if that had just been done with L instead, like it would have been
I
better. But I
gotta
don't know.
I gotta show you something. I seen this in my recommended recently. Peep this to do with Death Note. Look how many views it's got too. Just watch that and then come back to the stream. You'll be like, what the fuck?
All right, one sec.
Swag's watching this clip from Death Note, then he's gonna come back. It goes for 57 seconds. Like, I guarantee his reaction's gonna be like, he'll be like, what the fuck? What did you guys think of Death Note one shot? I thought it was entertaining. Drop the server link. Oh, hang on, I'll do that now while Swag reads that. Boys, join the Discord server right now. The link will be deleted in 60 seconds. Join the link. It's in the chat. Discord server right there. Join. Join the server. Join the server. Link's in the chat. My Discord server link is in the chat. Join right now. You got 60 seconds to join. Link will be gone in 60 seconds.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, you see that? It's like,
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck? Like, that was legit like the stuff you see in those interrogation videos.
Yeah. The tricking him by like filling his or feeding his ego a little bit was pretty funny. Reminded me a little bit of somebody, but yeah, Death Note's really good, especially the first half. The first half is great.